areas and like, that's something I can subscribe to. So in my mind, as especially as we are older, that it's not so much of once marriage happens, it's a switch because we've lived enough life for it not to switch. Am I making sense? That's my thought.
I think I get what you're saying. I think my thought process, and I'm not in your shoes, so that's one thing I don't want to ever, because it's a different ball game. I think me knowing my mom's story, because of course, as a result, she lost her husband and now she's dating again. I think that there's a clarity that she has that she didn't have before. So now she's like playing. She's not playing no games. Like she's just like, I like you, you like me. This is what we doing, and either we are. It just feels like that when I'm watching her. It's just kind of like,
yeah, I get that.
And so it's just kind of wow. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
But
because you've lived it.
Yeah, that's what I see.
I don't like that. I like that.
Yeah.
I didn't know I liked that, but I do like this.
But I think that the shift that I'm speaking of is kind of like, now that we're here married, we have said we locked in.
Yeah.
And we're going to choose every day each other.
Yeah.
Because, and if you approach, and I'm not going to lie to you and say, like, the night before I got married, I cried. Like, I was like, oh, Lord, I'm about to leave my daddy's house, But I will say that, what?
You didn't know that.
I did. I was like,
because one of the most important things for a woman in a marriage or a relationship is security.
Yes, child. And I was just like, I'm in this bed. What do I have? And I did have a bed. But anyway, so what I'm saying is that as a result of us getting married and we take that off the table, now we put something else on the table and we say, how are we going to choose each other every day? I'm mad at you. I don't like you, but I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
I don't, and all those things. And so I think, I'm sorry, but I think, even to the point of the question about what things that you do, to make sure that you're not posturing that other person to make you happy. Like you have to be intentional with how you take care of yourself. Like I'm in therapy. Like I have hobbies. I have interests. He has things he's doing. You know what I'm saying? And we also, he's giving me, we give each other the space to say, hey, I feel neglected, or I don't feel special, because that's my thing. I don't feel special. And and we talk about where we are. Now there were some times as we were merging our lives and our thought processes, because one thing that I haven't, and it may be funny or not funny to Mike, but one thing we haven't talked about is like, Mike is like, have y'all ever seen that movie, The Best Man?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Taye Diggs character?
Yes.
The serial dater, like that was my husband. You know what I'm saying?
You talking about
what? Anyway, so but Mike was always very well liked by women. Now he was not a ladies' man, but he, like, his women friends was like, "Oh, Mike is awesome. I can talk to him about anything, that kind of thing." He was Uncle Mike. Where I come from, it ain't none of that. And so we had to undo and work and set boundaries and all these kinds of things. And as those things unfolded, it was just kind of like, we're still doing this. But it always goes back to, and I remember when we were going through counseling after marriage with Pastor Richardson, he was like, you got to ask yourself, do you want to be happy or do you want to be right?
Yeah, because it's a difference.
Wow.
Sometimes you gotta even if you think you right, even if you think they dead wrong, like where is the happiness? If you want to be happy, are you gonna argue this down and beat a dead horse and hurt each other's feelings and put words out there that you can't get back? Or are you just gonna agree to disagree, and now let's figure out how we can merge, and sometimes it ain't even a agree to disagree, it's just why are we even having this conversation? Like
on the hierarchy of things, is this even important?
Yeah, but you was gonna say something.
I think all of that plays into like why the perspective changes when you are married. For one, the stakes are higher.
Sure.
Like as we're dating, at any point we can call this thing off and move forward with our lives. Like there's legally there's no intertwinement. You know, yeah, there are things like common law marriage, but a lot of people don't really submerge their lives together that way until both parties have said, hey, I'm committed to you and I'm not going anywhere. You know, so that whole thing, for one, that's weight. Now it's pressure added on our relationship of how are we going to last? Because even if you don't think about it subconsciously, you know forever is a long time. You know? And people don't, I mean, I think subconsciously it will start to hit like, man, what happens if you change? Like what happens if something happens to you that causes you to change? Like what I tell people all the time, like I had to think about the possibility that maybe Alicia has an accident and she's no longer able to provide me, you know, what I would normally desire. If it's sexually, if it's emotionally, if it's physically, no, like anything. Like what if Alicia is not able to provide me anything in that moment? Am I still committed to her? Would I still love her? Would I still be there with her all the time? Yeah. So that was something that I had to wrestle with. And that's a difficult thing. Like, am I willing to really go this distance with her? Is who she is. Do I believe that God has given me somebody that's worth all of my time and effort? Like if she can't give me anything else anymore, it's just her. Am I going to stick with it? You know? And so that alone, you may not be thinking about it. You may not like be taking stock and like, okay, hey, what if we go through this and this? But in the back of your mind, forever, commitment, all those things add weight and pressure, and you have to deal with those things. If it wasn't, the people would just jump in it and they would stay in it. Yeah. Like, and then as you start factoring, if you've had a prior relationship that didn't work out, if you have friends where things don't work out, and in our nation, in our society, those things that are negative get blown up more the things that are positive. It's hard to determine. Man, everybody's getting divorced these days. Like, is love really worth it? You know, is that, and then you're not even wrestling with the idea, like, is this truly love? You know, that I'm seeing in front of me, that people are propping up to me. I'm looking at a movie and they're living happily ever after, but we get no picture of ever after, you know, of what that looks like. The story just seems to close there, when in all actuality, the chapters just begin once we get married, you know. And so there is I'm sorry, sis, I agree with
that's fine. Eric. I know that I can be a little fantasized maybe in my thought process.
A little.
Maybe.
but I think that's beautiful. And I think that, you know, I give God glory for how much of your life, sis, I've been able to witness. And it's not the whole story. And I think that I relate to you in that way. Because even as I was traveling through all those toxic spaces, I remember one time a dude telling me, like, hey, if by this time we ain't married, we just gonna marry each other. Because
I had that deal with somebody.
And it was like,
there was a movie there.
And then he was like, because what you want ain't out there. You living in a fairy tale. Ain't nobody gonna love you like that. You know what I'm saying? But we cool. So, and I was just like, and immediately I was like, no. Yeah. And it was so funny because later on, after I got married, and I think, you know, I was more open at that time, posting more about my relationship, which I since have not been. They messaged me and I was like, well, I see you got what you wanted. And it wasn't like a shot. It was just like, I have to swallow my words and, you know, and just kind of like, you know, and I believe that God is faithful. You know, there's, you know, and we talk about it, and my mom is talking, like, this is a choice thing. Like, now where I will say where our fairy tale selves get us in trouble is because we keep thinking that after we argue, they're going to come back in with some flowers, or we keep thinking that after something fall off, like, so bad, you know, we waiting on the comeback. But sometimes you have to just say, well, he already said he was sorry. Yeah. And I love him. Okay, now I'm gonna go in, and because here's the deal: it's like after you've been brokenhearted and broken so many times, there is a part of you that wants them to kind of fix what's been broken, but you still got to do that work. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes that work is, I don't want to say I'm sorry, but I am going to say it because I choose to love you and love us, and I want peace more than this matters to me. And I think for me too, like one thing that we didn't even really talk about is that one thing that let me feel at home with Mike, and this is ugly, was that we argued. Like I had never had the room and the space to argue in any relationship prior. So we had these big arguments, and I was just like, where is all this emotion come from? I don't like it, but I ain't never did it before. I must feel comfortable, like those types of deals. And so it was just kind of like, I'm allowed to be this way, and you still want to be here, okay? You know, and it made me think like, okay, I'm not gonna run away from him either. And so. And also walking into marriage, I had a lot of insecurity. When you're talking about having that much toxicity in your previous relationships, you know, I remember feeling like I wasn't good enough for him. Even though with all these accolades I felt I had, and I had told myself I was her, you know. But I remember people also saying like, oh, Mike is amazing. Mike is this, and it just seemed to be that like, I literally had somebody tell me like, oh, God bless Mike. Because they thought that I was just going to eat him up. Like I was just going to emasculate my husband. And I was just like, why would you think that? Like, just because the thing about it, when a woman, it has to be a boss in her career and outside of her home, she has no intention and desire to do that in her home.
Come on now.
So what you getting, he ain't going to get. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I'm still going to be spicy because that's part of me. But it is in our nature to want to nurture and be that. So that's why the soft life movement is so big. Because we had to evolve for various reasons into these masculine personalities. And we don't want that. There are times, even down to what we going to eat. It might be like, I'm like, babe, I just don't want to make no more decisions. Just none. Can we just decide? Okay. Tell me what we're going to eat. And it's not because I can't.
Just tell me. And I'm fine with it.
It all sounds so simple, don't it? It just sounds like, oh, just pick something. You know,
but in our head, it is. Because what we don't want to do is make the decision.
Simple and easy ain't the same thing.
Yeah.
Simple and easy ain't the same thing.
But I think from the energy that the women are connecting to, we're like, really? we're sitting here like we see the energy and we're like, okay, well then just pick, because we're coming into it like, hey, you may be on a tipping scale. I don't want to tip you over, so just pick whatever you want.
But
more decisions.
And I think there's so in terms of like in that moment, I do have an opportunity to give the springboard into happiness again, you know, because either way, like happiness is your choice. You know, I can choose to be happy. Really, happiness, and if it's not something that you are engaged in the moment, it's a choice that you get chance. This is actually about you. It's not about anybody else.
Yeah. But
in those moments, like it's like, hey, let's just the other night, night before last. You know, we had a long day. Both of us had a long day. You know, I had several things to do after my normal real estate business. Alicia had meetings and things like that. And I went, my boys are out at my parents' house, and I went and picked them up. I ate food out there. I knew Alicia hadn't eaten. And I was asking, hey, what do you want to eat? And what was that meme you sent? He said, I don't know what I want. You know, sometimes I think, you know, in a relationship, we actually have to do a better job. Like, let me say myself, I had to do a better job of like taking stock of little things that matter, that can matter in big ways later on. You know, so I'm watching Alicia, some of the things that she eat, and it took her a long time to take that. My parents had barbecued some food, you know, something that she kind of liked. You know, she'll eat if she's not picky. You know, sometimes she just eating to live, not like me. Like
that's my girl. That's my girl.
So I was like, okay, she's taking a long time. This store this business she normally likes to eat at, I know they're about to close soon. I just called, hey, can I get this boom 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 order? And they said, yeah, if you can be here in 10 minutes, you do it. So we run out of the house. I come home. And she said, oh, I thought you were going to bring me something from your parents' house. You know, and I saw her lighten up a little bit. You know, it's not a big thing. Just lighten up a little bit. You know, but I thought about it, I was like, man, if I had not taken stock of my partner, not to be like her source of happiness, But it is, if I want to love her through in sickness and in health, like loving is extending yourself beyond what is typically expected.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, loving her is like, hey, yeah, I could just say, oh, here's some food. You know, but if I have the opportunity, I have the, you know, opportunity monetarily or in energy or in time to say, hey, let me do something that speaks to you, something that you will enjoy. Now I just give her the platform to be her happy self.
Yeah.
So
and I wanted to ask y'all, because you was leading right into it. Now I'm asking, you know, y'all got together, married for how
10
long?
years.
10 years now?
Mm-hmm.
10 years,
yeah. Man, 2014? Time
2013.
Flies.
We were at
2013. Okay,
yeah,
we going on 11. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What are your goals now? Like, what are y'all combined goals? Like, hey, this is where we're headed to, or this is like our goals for Mike and Alicia.
I think primarily to get in sync as far as like, so I've had friends that were just like, man, it seemed like y'all just got the perfect, you know, best. Some of it, sometimes people, I don't know, like some of it's just really just more staying power. Like we just willed ourselves to stay here. Yeah. But there are a lot of things that I wish were, and she wishes as well, that were more in sync. We were just talking, you know, spiritually, like, hey, can we make sure we delve out some time during the day to you know, to read together, pray together, you know, because we get so busy. You know, Alicia, my job is not 9 to 5. You know, I'm pretty much always at work, except like Sundays. That's kind of my cutoff day. And then even sometimes people will call me. Alicia, she's done such a wonderful job at her job that people ask her, hey, can you do this? Then she ends up staying over. And then she has her nonprofit. And then there are other organizations that she's involved with. We could just end up passing each other by, you know. Yeah. So our goal, you know, is actually to be in sync. Not only just for us, but for our children. You know, our oldest son is dealing with some things we never expected him to deal with, you know, just in his performance at school. And then you realize, oh, wait a minute, there is some things that we could provide if we're more in sync. Like there's more of a sense of stability. His reactions are probably indicative of what we have going on. Right. You know, so being in sync, climbing, you know, continuing to climb out of, you know, financial deficits that we put ourselves in, and then also to starting to, you know, make sure that we take care of the main things, which is being on the same. We've grown leaps and bounds in our communication, you know, but not stopping there. We could do a whole lot better as far as things that we communicate and how we communicate those things. I mean, I give glory to God that we just the other day we were laying in bed. I thought it was something pretty silly, you know. And you talk about arguing. I am a person.
He's a great debater.
I find engaging because it doesn't mean anything to me. Like we can have this discussion, it can be heated, and we move on. That's how me and my boys go. And then she doesn't come out of it like that. So we were having a conversation in the bed. She's been asking me for years and years, can you validate the thing that I'm saying? Like tell me, like let me know that you appreciate
what I said.
That you've heard what I said. Not move to the next point. And it's a struggle. Like that's not. Listen, I don't know where you could go to learn that skill as a man growing up. You're just trying to do whatever you can do to survive and not be a bum. You know what I'm saying? Or considered a bum. That mode of communication, if you're not with a woman learning from her and her style of communication, you probably won't have that skill going into marriage. It is something that you can learn quickly if you can turn the ego off. But that's just a hard thing to do. So I think finally, after 9 or 10 years, I'm getting to the place where I'm dipping my toe into validating, you know, her experience. You know, if it's something that I felt like, even if it's something I felt like I didn't do wrong, like I don't know what I did wrong, but how can I validate her experience as a person, as a whole separate human being? We're joined together, but she's a separate human being. You know, so that foundational place of communication, growing on that, and then getting in sync in some other ways, you know, and starting to, you know, invest and do things like that we'll see some returns on in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Man.
5 minutes.
What's 5 minutes?
You know what 5 minutes is. After we resolve, you have 5 minutes to be in your feelings.
I just want to tell
you gotta
y'all,
come on up out of there.
One time,
I didn't know what y'all was about to talk about. I was like,
listen. No.
What we talking about here now?
I have a 5 minute rule because it does work. It's saying if this not changing our lives in 10 years, you got 5 minutes to get rid of the feeling.
That does not always
now
work.
because we resolve it. I said after we resolve it, you have 5 minutes.
So there was a situation.
Let me ask you this: what will be your reason to be?
Because I still have to process. I still have to process the emotion. So
you
have to process the emotion.
Absolutely.
So, bro, you know I'm a mental health professional, right? You know I counsel. It's not resolved all the time because you get to a decision in your humanity and in your person.
It's a lie?
No. You have to process it so that your psyche can make sense of it. We're just wired differently as men and women. It's the same reason why Mike can have a big knockdown, drag out, heated discussion or argument with somebody and walk away and dap them up. And I'm over here like, I gotta come down. Yeah, I'm revved up. I gotta call a friend. I got a phone and we gotta process. And that person, because I don't need advice in this moment, I need a release.
Yeah.
And so what may be helpful is after you have a resolution, maybe she goes for a walk and give her that moment. Maybe I go boxing, or maybe I go do something else because I have to get the energy out of my body.
Come on, sis.
So we're saying the same thing.
No.
But you can't put a time limit on it.
You don't put a timer on it.
You're not going to say to yourself.
Let me tell y'all.
That may not be your time.
Wait a minute.
That's my time.
Wait a minute, y'all. Let me tell y'all something. So
wait a minute. We're saying the same thing. That may not be, and I agree. That may not be your time, but that's my time.
It's not a timer.
No, that's my time. You can have your time.
That's what I was gonna say. Are you saying like you give yourself 5 minutes, or are you saying like, hey, I think we should take 5 minutes?
I would, if we resolve it, I would not be involved in the next 5 minutes. That's what I'm saying.
Let me tell y'all something. So there was a time
we resolved it.
You see how you keep?
I think
you gonna let me finish.
See, here's the thing, because it's such a defined moment. Mm-hmm. That if you come back, it's like, oh, you're opening it back up.
Right. So there was a space where there was an incident that happened, right?
Right. No,
and I was upset. We talked about it. I didn't agree with what was being said, but we talked about it. Mm-hmm. And so he left me alone for about 5 minutes. And he said, "You're done being mad now." Like, no, I'm not. I'm not done.
You just made me so bad.
I'm still upset. You got to give me time to process it. And I wasn't even necessarily mad at him. I was mad at the situation.
I was planting the seed of
you were making me more upset.
No. Because now, if I'm out of it, I'm not dragging you down into it.
Right.
So again, the 5 minutes is not a harsh, like, you better be done in 5 minutes. I'm Mike Turner.
He told me I was done.
It's more of, hey, now you're gonna have. Now I'm back up here. So whenever you're done, come on back up.
In 5 minutes.
So that's why
I think it's funny because Mike doesn't have 5 minutes, but Mike will come to me in his own time and be like, "Can I get a hug?" And I'll be like,
yeah,
exactly. Because now you got to come up. I'm not going to be down there with you in the valley anymore. You got to come on up out of there. Come on up out.
And what we're saying is, I'm coming, but you got to give me a little bit to get there.
Okay, I'll be there in 5 minutes. But it's a playful thing to do, because and like I said, you mental health. anytime you deal with something, you got to have a place where you can go and feel like you kind of got through something.
Mhm.
So it's not like a harsh, like you got to be done in 5 minutes. It's more like saying like, hey, I'm out of here in 5 minutes. We're going to go back to the life, we resolved it. This is after it's resolved. It's not in the argument.
That's true.
We resolved it. Hey, I'm back.
What is resolved? What does that mean? What does that mean when you say that? Like, what do you mean when you say resolved it? Like,
either we agree to agree or we agree to disagree, and if that it is not important enough to change any situation, it's more so of we were bickering or we have to make a hard decision. We got to make a decision whether we're happy about it or not,
or just acknowledging each other's feelings, emotions, whatever towards the situation.
And it may be something. It may be a need. Sometimes you got to uncover a need that's underneath another need. Yeah. So you could be mad at me for something, but I'm going to sit here and look at you and say, "What's the real problem?" Because that's how I get.
This is true.
I don't mess around. I get straight. I want to know whatever's hurt. I want to point. There it is, right.
And the only thing that I'll say, like, so.
Tell me Alicia, what's going on right here. You're right, and you're right, Darrion. I feel like.
Well, I was just gonna say that the only thing. So what I've learned, and this is I don't like to do like general blanket statements to lay on top of relationships, because one thing, there may be general things that all women have in common, but of course you have to be specific and study your partner. But I noticed with her, like my understanding of resolution may be different from hers, so sometimes when I've had to come to a place of like letting her get to whatever so if we say, hey, this thing, we've put a conclusion to whatever matter it is, I may feel like I can move forward, and then I have to honor her right to not be at a place where she can emotionally move on. Like, yes, we have a decision that has been made and everything, and after that, it's not really my job anymore. Like, and not in an ugly way. Like, it's not like, but I don't need to like coax her out.
You did what you should have done.
It's like the same as the I can't make you happy.
Yeah, it is kind of like the flip. Only because if I do, and I begin to control that portion of her, then I won't actually get to that. Like, hey, what is the real need that you have? Because I agree with you. Like, I'm like, man, I want to know. Like, give me the underlying point. Like, let's skip all of the, Alicia doesn't believe she goes around, but she goes around. I'm like, okay, but what is the point?
Yeah,
in actuality, I've learned she doesn't know the point yet. She has an idea
of
what the point is. She has an idea what the point is, but she's trying to work it out. And unfortunately, for me, sometimes she'll need my ears in order to work that thing out. And so in that moment, it's like, okay, I just need to hear it, and not give, and no, in the sense of like, hey, I say unfortunately, because in all honesty, I don't want to. Yeah. I want to cut to the chase. Like, let's just deal with it and move forward. That's the man in me. That's how we have to operate in our day to day. We don't get a chance to linger.
I think that goes both ways, because there's been some times where I'm like, okay, I'm good now.
Me too.
Be like,
me too.
I'm not.
Yes.
And then
it depends on the situation,
right?
And I just the way I lead is I want to lead in a way where you understand that, hey, we need, when things are main, important, and needs to be taken care of, that we take care of swiftly. Like, we coming in with like a knife and we just cutting it out, because that's the stuff that erodes us, and that's my energy.
Is that the thing that erodes you?
Yeah, like because if you let it linger, it'll compound. So something else will make you mad. Then you'd be mad about two things. It'll keep compounding until you just feel like the pros, the cons outweigh the pros, and you break it off.
I guess what I mean is, like, if she doesn't know how to explain the thing that is difficult or whatever she may be having an issue with in the moment, that thing is actually causing an erosion that you just may not see head on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when I hope I'm understanding your point correctly, Darren. I guess what I'm saying is if I give her the time that she needs to process, I may eventually actually come to the understanding of what the real problem is.
And then there won't be any more piling on top because the problem will be solved. Because usually pain is a reason for anger.
Yeah.
And so
anger is always a secondary emotion.
Yeah. So if we get to the root of the anger, because what usually happens for me is when I start to feel, and I hear what you're saying, you're doing it kind of like in a cutesy way, like, all right, I'm good when you good, so I think I hear that. I think that I'm thinking about times in our own communication because I used to get mad for days.
Oh no.
I did. I used to get mad for days, and I would just be mad and mad and mad and mad and mad. That was problematic. But I think that because I was allowed the space to have that,
yeah,
there's a security that was built in my feelings in my home. And so now I don't require that.
Yeah.
Because I know that even in my ugly behavior, he's still here. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to say that I did right. I don't think I did right. But I will say that his actions, and I do think it's indicative, like when people don't really know how to expound on that, love your wife like Christ loved the church. Like if you think about how the Lord tells us that he sent his son, so whosoever, that's not a guarantee, that's an option. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so because he is loving me in this way, I don't always feel pressured. I feel like it's almost like a whosoever vibe. So like, I'm going to be here. And whenever you get off of that, we can move forward. Mm-hmm. And when I come, I'm not being held hostage because I was mad at him for a few days. Now there have been times, he's human, so I'm not going to paint him to be no like superhuman. So there are times in which I do come back to him and he be looking like, oh, so now you ready? So, and we have to work through that. But I think that all those feelings, those little petty feelings, we have to get to the bottom of that. And as I say, before I got here into this relationship, like I'm still uncovering junk that came out of negative situations. And so I think that at the end of all of it, we watched too many TV shows, and I'm talking about the collective we've watched too many TV shows, and we've heard too many other people, and we've listened to the podcasts and the people and women saying this and men bashing women and red pill, blue pill, pink pill, all the pills. And it's just kind of like, but at the end of the day, this is a choice. It's a choice. Mm-hmm. And either I'm going to choose or I'm going to not choose. Like, and I think that I'm going to feel you're worth it or you're not worth it. Yeah. I'd rather be angry with you than be happy over here with somebody I don't have these feelings for. Like, there have been times in my marriage I was just like, man, this is hard. Like, I just would rather not. Like, I can't break through. Like, there have been times that, he's probably been like, if you could just listen to me and do it this way, we could be so many steps ahead. But we may be ahead, but we won't be ahead together. We won't be ahead in sync.
Yeah,
we won't be
because at that point I lack an understanding of how to get.
We won't be ahead in safety. And as respect is for him, safety is for me. If I don't feel safe, I'm not gonna be at peace, and all the rest of the stuff just gonna start falling apart. I'm gonna get antsy. I'm gonna get busy. I'm gonna get irritated. I'm gonna start trying to make my way. I'm gonna start trying to, hustle and
start fussing.
Yes.
At the same, like I understand, Dan, what you're saying, because at the same time, like I can't necessarily be in that muck with you,
right?
Like I still have to move. Like I may not be able to tell you, hey, you got to move forward, or I may tell you, you may say that you're moving forward, but you ain't really moving forward. But as a man, like we got to move forward, like there's things that have to be handled, have to be taken care of.
And I'm saying, we're all saying the same things as like before and after. I'm saying after it's resolved. Like when we resolve it, that's everything that we went through. We talked about it. We pinpointed where it come from. The stuff that you all just mentioned. That's, I guess I just shortchanged it, but after it's resolved, let's move forward. Let's move into a better place because we can't stay here. Let's go back into a better place. So I love it. I love to hear the different angles of how you how you deal and how you come back to life.
Yeah.
You gotta come back to life. I just do it in a way where I isolate it. I sit, I'm telling you, we sit and we isolate it. Let's get this out the way. Let's get this out the way. Okay. Is this it? Yes. Okay. Let's handle this.
I like that though. It's
and
clean.
we get down. We run towards. I'm telling you, we run towards the fire.
Yeah,
it's clean. I like it.
Yeah,
because sometimes in an argument it can get kind of convoluted. Like, but I thought you said and this and this and that. Like, wait a minute.
Somebody leaves and slam the door and go downstairs. We don't do none of that. We sit there and be like, okay, what's the problem?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
And no matter how long it takes, and I appreciate that because it's a validation of whatever emotion I'm dealing with at the time. It's not a sweeping away or I don't want to talk about it or whatever. It's sweeping it under the rug. It'll be all right, it's actually, and then that way we do get past that, and then when it is, if an issue comes up the next time, it's almost like, okay, we talk about this. It's
a less of a blow,
right? And it's less of a blow. So definitely.
I'm telling you, and the motto is "We the team."
We the team.
I love that.
That's the motto.
That's our motto. We the
team. We the team. If you down, just like if you ever play like team sports. If you down, hey, you got to sit on the bench. You come back in the game, sit on the bench. You come back. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm missing or whatever. Somebody gets hurt. We the team. You gotta have that. Hey, y'all team work like that, but our team. This is how our team works.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then but it's 100% support. It's 100%. And I love to hear y'all's story because now I'm picking up like, okay, that's a good way of explaining it. That's a good way of looking at it. And that's something that I can add, to it too. And, vice versa. And I love learning from other people. That's one of my biggest things. You guys came into it where you had a long friendship, before, and to the point where you are at right now, where it's like, I can feel you guys' friendship. Like you guys have a relaxed demeanor. The aura is like strong. So I see that. I mean, and this is my first time meeting you, Mike. I see you guys' glow. Yeah. And I only met Alicia one time.
Yeah. One time. Yeah.
That one time where, Mike, let me tell you this, man. Hold on. Aisha said, "You want to come with me to this event, Longview?" I said, "Oh yeah, sure. I'll come."
Oh yeah.
An all women's event.
You was MVP, bro. You was in that thing.
Hotel.
Yeah.
And she said,
I saw you. I was on my way out to do so. I think I saw you from afar. I didn't get a chance to come shake your hand. But
okay.
Sit through my boy in the thick of it.
In the dead hours.
I mentioned that it was a woman's event. I don't know what he heard when I said that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we believe you.
I heard. I'm gonna support my friend.
We believe you. We believe you. No.
Man, we have really enjoyed getting to talk to you guys. Before we let you guys go today, is there any advice that you guys would like to share with our audience about marriage, about relationships? Any advice that you feel that you would like to share?
I think one thing that I don't know if it's advice, and it may be, but I just want to encourage people. Like, I believe that marriage is covenant, right? I believe that what we have is God sent, God ordained. I believe we're choosing to do it this way. But I don't particularly like how people make marriage their life goal.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of times people feel like if I get married, that's like a sign that like I'm okay.
I made it,
Yeah. And I think we idolize marriage too much in that we're only seeking to get married, but we're not seeking to get whole as ourselves. We're not seeking that one-on-one connection with our creator. We're not seeking, healing prior to, like, even as I think about it, sometimes we only want to heal so we can be better for somebody else. And I think that if I can advise anybody out there, if you want to get married, or even if you are married, you can't idolize this thing. It's a gift, but it's not like a pinnacle of like to celebrate, because it is work. It's you in the trenches. And I just wish that people talked more about the practical stuff, and I wish people would understand that, I do remember how lonely I was. I do remember crying. I do remember feeling like something was wrong with me. It must be me. Why would people? I remember having those feelings, but I also know that a lot of those feelings were attached to people asking me, so when you gonna get married? So when you gonna do this? So when you gonna do that? And I just feel like that is an ugly way to treat people. So if you're somebody out there who is looking for that, or hoping to, I just pray that we can get to a place where we don't idolize it, so that we don't move so swiftly to it for the sake of having a wedding, because you can spend a whole bunch of money on that party, but if you don't find, like, I remember I like to listen to these other women called the Dear Auntie podcast, something like that, and it's like they talk about a lot of times, like, you gotta have somebody who like you.
Come on.
It's people who will find you attractive, but you gotta find somebody who like your personality, somebody who okay with you when you like, I'm thinking about some of the more intimate parts of marriage that's not sexy, like when you in the restroom and all of that, and it's like, oh, when you need help with your wig, or when something go wrong, or it's like, I got a bump right here, can you check? Like, you need to like this person.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, because when you take the lashes and the wigs and your braids is fuzzy and this part broke off and you got a zit right here, and then you take them Spanx off and that thing just, your whole body just released. Like, you need to be okay with you and the person you with need to know that person, because we live in a filtered, make fake society. That makes it seem like, and that's why I don't like it when people do look at us and they oh, well, y'all are this and that and this and that. You don't know what we did behind closed doors. You know what I'm saying? But the truth of the matter is, I like this dude. It's him when we saw. It's a point when I'm in my feelings, and after a while, I'll be like, I can't even trip out with my boy right now. I got this funny TikTok I want to show him, but I'm still over here mad,
Say this and show him later when I ain't mad no more.
Get off the gas. So, and it's just kind of like, I think it's that. I don't know if that's advice, but that's just one thing I really had on my heart to say. Is that, and I think we do it especially in the church. It's just like the we just all got to get married, and it's just like, baby, like, just pump your brakes. Like, you were not born to get married. You were born to fulfill your own purpose. And along the way, should you find somebody and you choose to marry that person, because it ain't like no glitter sparkles. When you see that person, you're attracted, and you choose to build a life, because that's what it is. And I think that's another thing. Like, we over spiritualize it. It's like, we just go, one day somebody gonna get shot into the world because we don't watch, Love Actually, and we watching all the stories unfold, and we thinking it's a whole timeline because we in the multiverse. Baby, you just gotta find you somebody you like.
I definitely want to piggyback off of that, because as someone who had been married for a very long time, 16 years, and
16,
yes, and had come out of that, I had to find my individual self. And I think that goes along with what you're saying, sis, in regards to people losing their identity or feeling, because I remember when I divorced feeling like a failure. And taking that on as I failed, versus I did everything I could do. Now it's time to move on, and do something different. And I had to learn that. And so we even get all the time. And I'm so glad everyone is excited about us. But
And we are.
and we get it a lot. And it's not to say that it's not a conversation, but I feel comfortable enough to say when it happens, it'll happen. Yeah. When it happens, it'll happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when I think about it, I think it's part of the journey and it's a part of our goal. Like where we headed to, like with marriage and all of it, like where are we going?
Yeah.
And I think I get excited about the journey because, you know, life is just a journey. And that's the best part is the journey. That's the, like, oh, remember that year when this happened and remember this year when we got better? Like, that's life is just the journey. And the thing is, there's no, we want to place people place everything on a right and wrong scale, but man, it's not even about that. It's just about what did you do?
Yeah.
And how did you do it?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
That's the simplicity of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Mike, any comments that you would like to make before we dismiss?
I mean, I don't you know, I don't too much give advice to ladies. I think ladies are better off advised by the ladies. You know, I generally speak to men on these things primarily because I do recognize us as the as responsible, you know, especially in a marriage. So my only encouragement to any brother, especially if you're entering into marriage or you're considering marriage, you know, if you're in a dating phase, date, you know, be honest and be real. That way, for one, you can lead in breaking down that barrier of like having to put on if you are going into the marriage. I'm probably viewed as an extremist when it comes to marriage because I'm on the tip of it's just 100% commitment. Hopefully I'll be able to finish my book this year. Shameless plug. It's called Obliterate Your Lifeboats. And like you really just give yourself no other option to where, hey, either I'm going to do everything I can for this marriage to work or I'm going to die trying, you know. And when you get to that place and you don't see any other options, there's no escape, there's no possibility of returning. You know, I can't return Alicia back to the store, back to her mom, to her dad. I can't do that. This is my sole obligation in life. So when you get to that place, you start to look at things a little bit differently. You start to figure out ways in order not only for yourself to survive, but for our marriage to survive and thrive. So get rid of lifeboats, get rid of all other options. If this person is going to be the person you say you're going to be with, and be with that person and make it work. Yeah.
I would also like to say we need to be more vulnerable, but that's probably in a whole other conversation, you know.
Yeah. It takes strength to be vulnerable.
It is. It takes authenticity. It takes lots of communication. And I just think that it's a lot more like love and relationships and working relationships is the only thing I really see. Well, one of the only things I see that social media, you can cover it up, but you can't. Mm-hmm. It don't affect it. You know what I'm saying? Like you still got to do this work over here. It don't matter how many pictures you take. It don't matter how many things you do. At the end of the day, once you turn it off, you ain't even sitting at that angle no more. You are faced with you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and you are faced with each other. And I think that it's so important for everybody. And it's my last thing, because my word for the year is be still. Like, I feel like God has really been calling me into Sabbath living and resting and getting with him. And if you are not being still and you're constantly go, and you may be building on top of a train that's supposed to stop. And it can ultimately cause you more detriment than you. So I would just advise people to take lots of time in solitude.
Yeah.
sit with yourself, sit with your thoughts, and a lot of what you really need to come out is going to come out. Because what we end up doing sometimes is we don't sit with ourselves, then we get with somebody and we project all of that to that person, like, fix me, fix me with your love. And that's just not possible.
Yeah.
That was my whole birthday.
Solitude.
Yeah.
It's important. It's crucial.
It is.
And happy belated birthday to you
Happy
as well.
belated birthday.
I'm getting old, man. I'm getting old.
You sure are.
Bedtime moved from 8:30 to 7:30. I'm fine with it.
Look,
in the morning.
The sun is your timer. You're looking there like, oh,
right, there you go.
At the same time, brother.
Man, thank you guys for joining us.
Yes.
I thank God that we were able to have this conversation with you all. I hope and pray that it was something that was said today that helps someone, helps a couple, helps someone who is still single, whatever the case may be. Because relationships are not easy. It is not easy. And I think that, like you said, sis, that people fantasize about it, but they don't think about all the work that goes into it.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. I love you all dearly.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
Nice to meet you guys.
Likewise.
Yes.
I got your friend request too. I was like, what? I was like, bam, let me hit that real quick.
We gotta do it. I'm like, man, we finna get out here and talk. We ain't even got a chance to,
Absolutely.
Man. But
Absolutely.
All good.
Well, we are going to wrap this show up. Again, I love you guys. Alicia, I will see you in a few weeks.
Oh, tell us how to, if you guys are on social media.
What you're involved in, like your podcast. Alicia, talk about Queens United.
Plug
your stuff.
Sure, yeah. I'm on all platforms. As far as my real estate podcast, The Success Estate, it's on Spotify, YouTube. We're coming out with season number 5 this month, and I'm easily accessible. Mike Johnson, Longview, Texas, real estate agent. Those words combined, I've got a very common name, but if you type The Success Estate, you can normally find my information pretty quickly.
And then Longview Queens United is a nonprofit. Well, you talked about before.
We get an award this year. Woo, woo.
Yeah. And I will be there to see my friend.
Yeah.
I am so humbled by that. But we do have some seniors who will be going off to college this year. So if anyone would like to donate to their scholarship, you can do so at longviewqueensunited.org.
Yeah.
We will be having a mental health retreat for all women and girls on March the 23rd. There's going to be a sound bath there. We're going to do some yoga. We're going to have some classes. We're going to do some journaling. You're going to come.
I don't even know what that means.
I do.
It's all about teaching women, especially women of color, how to rest and how to take care of themselves. So that's what it's about. And then I'm working on my little TikTok thing. So if you want to follow me on TikTok, I think you look up Marie, but my name is Wife Mom CEO. And just come join the Ladies Lounge and we have conversations. I usually go live every Sunday. I would love to go live with Aisha one day. I think we would really have fun. So anyway,
but others don't be talking bad about us on that.
We're not going to talk bad about you. We're only going to tell
only like a piece of the portion.
We're going to tell the truth, and if the truth has a negative vibe.
And Mike, I want to hit your podcast. I'm a mortgage loan. Well, I still got my license, mortgage loan originator.
Yeah. Let's talk about it.
Oh yeah, I got some stories, boy.
Yeah, I love to hear it. Listen. I need another 30 days of your pay stubs. You got to get this to me today. Don't do it tomorrow. You didn't know they quit their job after they got under contract.
I know. My God.
Oh, here's a good one. It shows we got a credit report came back and said you just bought a car. Why would you do that?
After I gave you all the instructions, don't do that. That's the thing I said, don't do. You did it. Just blew up.
We're going to make sure to plug in all the information.
Everything.
Thank y'all very much.
Absolutely.
And if you need photography, pictures, I forgot. But anyway, that's it.
She forgot she was a photographer.
You're a photographer?
Mm-hmm.
She just opened up her photography. Remember I said that I was going to get with her about Zakaya's maternity shoot? I told you. I said that last night.
Okay. It's okay. Sometimes the words don't go. But anyway, I'm just.
It don't hit until he has something to connect it to. Then it's
my
like
librarian up here was
Hey,
he was
look.
busy. He was on break.
he's constantly taking. She said that, and then when I bring up stuff, he's like, wait a minute, we threw that out. We got to go back and find it.
Yeah.
Control Alt Delete.
Right.
But anyway, I love y'all. Thank you.
Love y'all
Right,
too.
love
Thank
y'all
y'all so
too.
much.
Pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Our boys didn't even come in here. That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. I know that was a longer episode than you guys are used to us having. But again, thank you so much to Alicia and Mike Johnson. Again, we're going to make sure to put all of their contact information in the description on YouTube and Facebook, so you guys can reach out to them if you're needing a home, if you're wanting to give to the nonprofit, whatever that may look like. Definitely make sure to give us suggestions, comments, questions. If you want to be on the show, let us know. Our email is ifidothisrightpodcast, all spelled out, @gmail.com, or you can message us on our messenger, whatever way you can think of to reach out to us, reach out to us. You have a did you know today?
I don't have a did you know today, but I do want to say this. Throughout the project of love is work. Even if you love to do something passionately, you got to put in work.
Yeah.
Connect with your partner. Again, everybody has their in-house things that they do. Don't get hooked up on the 5 minutes, but it's a way of bringing you out of your current state to a better state. So, so don't attack me for that. It's not. I'm no Ike Turner, but
he's definitely not.
But I just want to let everybody know that, listen, man, love may not be the fairy tale that you have in your head.
Yeah.
But love is just knowing that person is in your corner, because when stuff happens in your life and you need somebody to be there, that's what love is. Love is who's going to show up. So
that's it. That's good.
That's it. That's all I got.
That's good. That was really good.
That's it. That's all it's about.
Yeah, absolutely. We will be joining you all again in March on the second Sunday of March with our next episode. So stay tuned for that. Again, I know this was a longer episode, but we so enjoyed. And happy Valentine's Day to you all. And if you're watching football, I hope your team wins.
Pretty much.
Have a good night.
And watch Usher.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Woo!
If I do this right, if I do this right,
We gotta do this right.
it'll change the world.
The whole world.
It'll change my life.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Aish.
If I do this right,
World peace.
if I do this right,
Come on.
it'll change
Darrion.
the
Change the
world.
world.
It'll change my life.
Gotta change the whole life.
If I do this right,
If
I do this
Let's go.
right,
Let's
if I
go.
do this right,
it'll change the world.
that's what's
It'll
up.
change my life.
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go.
If I do this right,
Yeah.
if I do this right,
Let's go.